Hey, mamas, and welcome back to For Moms, a Safe Space. I'm Simone, your host and fellow mom in this beautiful, complicated journey of motherhood. And here in this space, we talk about the real side of motherhood, the messy, the magical, and everything in between. Last week on For Moms, a Safe Space, we talked about something that hits home for so many of us. Who am I now that I'm a mom? And we were able to explore motherhood and understand that it can shake up our sense of identity and how things that once defined us can feel distant or even lost in the shuffle of diapers, feedings, and never-ending to-do lists. But we also talked about something a little bit more serious. Being able to grieve who we were, yet still embracing who we're becoming. Because deep down, you're still you, even if you've changed. And if you missed it, definitely go back and give it a listen. It's just a gentle reminder that you're not alone in figuring this all out. And that brings us to today's episode. Because once we start exploring who we are as moms, another big question usually follows. What about us as partners? Ooh. So today we're diving into post-baby partnership, finding each other again. We're going to discuss how to reconnect when it feels like it's all about the baby and why it's not always 50-50. And we know it's not. Sometimes it's 60-40, 80-20. Sometimes it might be 9-10. But we'll also discuss how intentional moments can help bring you back to each other. So if you ever looked at your partner and thought, I could just think you right now. Nah, I'm playing. Have you ever looked at your partner and thought like, bruh, we on the same team. Why does it feel like we're playing two different games? This one's for you. So let's talk about that shift that happens in our relationships after we become parents. See, before the baby was born, your relationship had its own rhythm. You guys had your things that you like to do. Maybe it was spontaneous date nights, spontaneous trips. You had deep conversations that were uninterrupted. You had days where you laid around and did nothing. And there was a sense of freedom and emotional and physical that allowed you guys space for each other. But once the baby arrived, everything changed. And I find it funny when people say, oh, they were such a cute couple. They were perfect for each other. What happened? And it's that shift change that occurs after the baby is born. Because now your focus is on this tiny human who's demanding everything from you. They depend on you for everything. And so your energy starts to shift towards everything baby related and away from your relationship with your partner. And during that time, it's not just your body and time being stretched, it's your emotional bandwidth as well. And the things that kept you guys close, talking about dreams, planning future trips, laughing at inside jokes, can now feel like luxuries you no longer have time for. And this shift isn't just physical, it's an emotional shift. And you start to see your partner more as a co-parent than a romantic partner. And then the exhaustion begins to kick in. And with the exhaustion comes resentment. And you start to wonder, why am I doing more? Why am I, doing the dishes and moving the dishwasher and doing the laundry and changing diapers and doing this and doing that, and you are doing bare minimum? Because that's what it may seem like from a mother's standpoint. But in all actuality, you both are giving your all to your baby. However, you're giving less to each other without even realizing it. And over time, that distance can grow unless you choose to bridge it intentionally. So even if your partner is right beside you, it's still very much possible to feel alone and to feel like you're not seen anymore. And to feel like, are we going to make it, essentially? Are we going to make it? Are we going to be able to still be in a relationship, still be together with each other while trying to raise this baby who is demanding so much from us? So I want to take the time out now to share a piece of my own story with you. Because what I'm talking about today, this need for intentional conversations, is not just something that I believe in, but it's something that I've lived through. So I had my second baby 10 years after my first baby. And from 2013 to 2023, so much had changed in my life. So much. I was in a different headspace. I was at a different place in life. And just so many different things had changed. But there was nothing in this world that could have prepared me for what happened before my son was born. I lost my dad 1 month before my son was born. And perhaps the craziest thing is, in 2013, I lost my dad's mother, my grandmother, a month before my oldest son was born. Like, what? And yeah, I grieved my grandmother. I was sad my grandmother had passed away, but I wasn't as close to her. So it was kind of like she passed away. I grieved it. I had my son. That grief went away. But with my dad, that was a whole nother monster. That was a whole nother monster because my dad was my superhero. That was my Superman. That was my Superman. And you know that eventually your parents are going to leave this world, but there is nothing in this world that can prepare you for that. Nothing. So here I was again, bringing a baby into the world while grieving a major loss, but this time it was my dad. My dad was diagnosed with cancer, and I was pregnant. I was growing a baby, and my dad was passing away. And I will go see my dad every week. At least 2 times a week, I would go see him, to be with him, to talk to him, to just hold on to the moments that I could have with him. Because I knew eventually he was going to leave. He was going to leave this world. And I remember being there one day, and the baby was moving in my stomach. And so I grabbed my dad's hand and I said, look, you can feel him. He's moving. He's right here. And my dad said to me, verbatim, I'm going to try and hold out to meet this little one. And that stuck with me. And even though he didn't get to meet him earthside, I felt him with me in those moments. And then my son was born. And when they take you to, your room that you're going to be staying in, they're wheeling me into the room, and I look up on the wall at my room number, and it is literally my parents' address. The same address that they've had for over 30 years. And I just stared at it, and I was like, wow, that's my parents' address. And then the nurse smiled, and she's like, oh, it must be your mom here with you, because my mom wasn't present for the birth of my second son. And I was like, no, it's my dad. Like, I just lost my dad a month ago. And it was like, wow, like a full circle moment. Like he was right there watching over us. But here's the part that people don't always talk about. Giving birth a month after losing a parent while trying to function, heal, and manage hormones and process all that grief, it's a lot. It's more than a lot. And something like that can take a major toll on your relationship as it did with mine. It took a toll on my relationship. We were not connecting. We were not on the same page. We're just trying to take care of this baby and trying to survive. And I remember thinking back on different things that him and I had done together, fun times and laughs and jokes and inside jokes and songs and things of that nature, where we were in like such a happy place and just trying to think like, are we ever going to get back to that? Are we ever going to get back to each other? Like being best friends again? Or is it going to happen? And the truth is, it took time. It took patience. It took a lot of grace and intentional, honest conversations. Ones where we admitted, I feel disconnected. This is hard. I miss us. Conversations where we listened without trying to fix it. But do not get me wrong. I'm not trying to say that we have it all figured out and we're perfect and there's nothing wrong. No, we're still processing. We're still in a process. It's daily work to wake up and choose each other. You have to wake up and choose each other. You have to show up for the relationship and not just for the baby. But those conversations, they're what starts to rebuild the bridge. It's one honest moment at a time. So if you're in a place right now feeling far from your partner, overwhelmed by motherhood, unsure of how to even start the conversation, understand I see you and I've been you. And I want you to know it's possible to start again, to find each other again. Even in the middle of grief, chaos, and diapers, the connection is still possible. Finding your way back to each other after having a baby, after grief, after such a life shift, it doesn't just happen. It takes intention, it takes effort. And more than anything, it takes communication. But the kind that goes deep, not just surface level communication. I'm talking about intentional communication. The kind that makes space for your partner to feel seen. The kind that allows you to be honest about your needs, your emotions, your exhaustion without guilt. The kind that helps you rebuild connection even when you feel like you're starting from scratch. So how do we communicate? And when I say communicate, I mean really communicate. When you are feeling touched out and overwhelmed. The love that you guys have for each other, it doesn't disappear after the baby. You just have to find new ways to breathe life into it. And that's why intentional conversations matter. They matter because they help you to see each other as partners rather than co-parents. They help to keep the resentment from building and allow you to feel emotionally safe again. And most importantly, they help to rebuild the intimacy between the two of you, emotionally and physically. But understand, you cannot nurture your relationship on autopilot. And you shouldn't have to go through this major life shift in silence. So how do we have these intentional conversations? And this is probably going to sound crazy to some of you guys, but sometimes you have to schedule it. Sometimes you literally have to say, look, Thursday, 6:30, we're going to do XYZ together, just you and I. And that's when you realize, look, we need to make time for this connection. And it doesn't have to be romantic. You guys don't have to go to a fancy dinner or go see a movie or anything like that. It doesn't have to be perfect. It just needs to be intentional. It has to be intentional. Sit down for 15 minutes, check in with each other. Go on a walk, even if you have to bring a stroller. That walk can help the baby to go to sleep, which can help you guys be present for each other. No phones, no distractions, just the two of you. For me and my partner, doing this has been a game changer for us. Because every day for the last 2 years, once we started getting back into a good rhythm, we take the evenings and it's for us. Now, it may look like he's on his phone, I'm on my phone, but we're sitting together or we're laying together. It may look like we find a movie and we watch it together. It may look like we find a TV show and we watch it together. It might be him playing on his game and me playing on my iPad, but we're together. And then there are days where we don't have any type of distractions and we are just in this space talking, having a conversation. And this has been our ritual for the last 2 years. When it's warm outside, we like to sit out front on our patio. We like to people watch. Not that it's a lot of people watching to do in our neighborhood, but that's what we like to do. Sometimes we go for walks, just him and I, and we talk. And those are important in helping to bridge the connection between the two of you. And no, it's not always going to be perfect because there may be some nights where, I don't want to talk. And it's nothing personal against my partner. It's just I had such a day that I am all talked out and I just want to sit on my iPad and I just want to play my game. And then there are some nights where he may just want to play his game, and that's okay. Understand that happens sometimes, but still try to be in each other's space. Try to be present with each other, sharing that same quiet time. And that's our time. It's our ritual. And it may not look like a fairy tale, but it's ours and it's what works for us. Because connection doesn't always have to be loud or perfect. It just has to be real. So you have to find those moments together. Find them. And then try opening the door to deeper conversations. The kinds that, really pull on you and make you say, this is what I've been feeling. This is why I have been feeling it. And understand they're not going to be easy and they're not supposed to be easy. They're supposed to help you. They're supposed to open the door to make a difference between you two. And move on from just surviving the day to actually feeling like partners again. Just saying to your partner, what do you need from me right now, can be a major game changer and you don't even realize it. It's about showing up and being willing to listen even if it's hard. And that's where the real connection begins. But you also have to remember to give each other grace. Because you're both tired. You're both adjusting. And try not to play the who has it harder game. And that's something that I struggle with to this day. We are both working on validating each other's experiences in this and realizing that we both deserve compassion. Because your relationship, it matters and it deserves nurturing as well. The thing that intentional communication helped me to realize is relationships aren't always 50-50. And that is a big thing on social media where people talk about, 50-50 relationships. And generally it's about finances. But 50-50 in parenthood is not possible. It's not. Especially when you're grieving and you're healing and you're just trying to keep your head above water. There are days where you will not have anything left to give, mentally, emotionally, and physically. And in those moments, it's not about keeping score, it is about grace. It is about one of us carrying a little more when the other couldn't. And some days that meant me, and other days it meant him. And that's the reality of partnership after a baby. It's not always going to be split down the middle, and it's not supposed to be. Because what matters more than balance is support. What matters more than perfection is presence. I discussed that moms are like house managers. We manage almost everything in the household without being paid. And that is the reality for many moms. We are natural nurturers. And because of that, society and family often default to us for everything. And I mean everything. You have a running list in your head of the things you need to do. And it's hard. You have to remember feeding schedules. You have to remember doctor's appointments, not just for the baby, for you, for your partner. And if you have other kids, you have to remember those appointments too. You have to remember those school trips, sign a permission slip. You have to remember the school projects that need to be done. You have to remember that, you need more milk in the house. You need more diapers. We need more wipes. It's everything on mom. But fairness isn't about splitting everything down the middle. It's about both people showing up in ways that reflect their strengths and capacity. Think of it like a dance, like salsa. Sometimes you lead, sometimes you follow, sometimes the rhythm is off, but you keep moving together because that's what matters. That's what matters. It's possible for resentment to grow when we expect fairness to mean equality. But fairness in a relationship means understanding and grace. Grace. It means saying, I've got us today. And trusting that your partner will do the same when you need them to. So how do we find our ways back to each other? Connection doesn't have to come through a grand gesture. Like, you don't have to come in the house with a big bouquet of flowers. You don't have to plan some grand dinner or, buy an elaborate gift. Sometimes it's in a very tiny moment. Very tiny moments. Like, I'll clean the dishes after dinner because you cooked us a meal. That's what it's about. Tiny moments. Not recreating what you had before, but finding new ways to stay close now. To keep choosing each other, even when it's messy and even when you're both tired. To see your partner as your partner and not just as a co-parent. But that person who you once had so much fun with. That person who made you laugh so hard your stomach hurt. That person who you had big dreams with. They're still there, and so are you. And sometimes we just need to remember to just reach across that space and say, hey, I still see you. I still see you. And that can help you guys get to a better space. It can help. So, mama, if you're listening right now and your relationship feels off or distant, I want you to know you are not alone. And it's okay. It's okay. It's a normal thing. Please do not beat yourself up because you guys are not connecting. It is very normal because you guys went through such a major life shift together. But it's very much possible to find your way back to each other. And it takes one conversation at a time. But it also takes both partners wanting to get back to each other. You have to start small. Be honest. Create the space for each other. And understand that you don't have to fix everything overnight. You do not. Reconnecting starts with choosing to try. And if you're a dad listener or a partner, this is your invitation too. Check in. Ask her how she's doing. Listen without trying to fix. Hold the space and allow her to hold it for you too. Because baby isn't the only one growing. You both are as well. So if this episode spoke to you, I'd love to hear your story. What helped you and your partner reconnect after the baby? And what are you still struggling to say out loud? Email me at formomsasafespace@gmail.com or DM me on Instagram. Your words might just be what another couple needs to hear. This is For Moms, a safe space. And in this space, your voice, your relationship, and your healing all matter. So be kind to yourself. And remember, love grows in quiet moments too. You're still partners, you're still learning, and you're worth the effort.